A Laurel County woman who was supposed to be rescuing animals is now accused of keeping them in horrible conditions.
Hundreds of dollars in fake 50s have Nicholasville police searching for counterfeiters.
Finding a new solution to Kentucky's drug problem. How one drug treatment facility is now avoiding one controversial method.
This is WKYT News at 6.
Good evening. She leads an organization that's supposed to rescue animals, but tonight a Laurel County woman has been charged with animal cruelty.
Police say they found more than 100 dogs living in horrible conditions at 40-year-old Stephanie Fields' home. Police arrested her this morning. Fields is the director of the Homeward Bound organization. Phil Pendleton has our top story at 6.
People say that Stephanie Fields was known to rescue as many dogs as she could. The belief from some is that she simply took in more than she could handle.
She picks up strays. She goes to various animal shelters. She's approved at various animal shelters. She's not approved at ours.
Ron Riddle was among the many called to help remove more than 130 dogs from Fields' Ferriston Road home. He says many were in poor health and in urgent need of veterinary care. We were there as she was arrested on second-degree animal cruelty charges.
That is just unbelievable. It's hard to fathom that anyone could let this get to this point.
Stephanie Fields was cited just weeks ago on another allegation. That charge is contaminating the water course. Basically, she is accused of allowing sewage from a dog housing facility to get into the water supply.
They sprayed the kennels out to clean the dog feces up, that it was going into a nearby creek.
State police say there was filth and feces all over the inside of the home.
Investigations revealed that the animals were in horrible conditions inside the residence, not good conditions at all outside of the residence. Just wasn't taking care of the animals.
Numerous rescue groups were called to remove the dogs, which has overwhelmed the Laurel County Animal Shelter, which we were told was already near capacity. In Laurel County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Fields' husband told us neither he or Fields wanted to talk about the arrest. Investigators say the dogs will stay in foster care until this case is resolved. Tonight, University of Kentucky police have issued a crime bulletin after a jogger says she was sexually abused at the Arboretum. It happened just after 5 yesterday afternoon on the paved track. Police say the jogger said a man slapped and groped her backside as she ran past him. The man then ran away. Police say the jogger is not a student. They say the suspect is a white man, about 20 years old, with light-colored hair and a short stature.
Tonight, police in Nicholasville are warning business owners to be on the lookout for fake money. They say at least 3 people have been passing hundreds of dollars in counterfeit money the last few weeks. Nicholasville police have identified one of those suspects as Lloyd Welch, but they're still looking for him and 2 other people. Victor Puente is tracking the investigation.
These 12 matching bills were passed at the Nicholasville Walmart last Saturday. In the video, you can see a man asking the clerk to give him hundreds and 20s in exchange for his 50s.
That's a little odd, and you did it multiple times, and so I think that would be a situation where the tellers ought to be thinking, well, maybe this is not quite right.
Police say this man used those same bills that night to buy printer paper. They're trying to identify these 2, but say they already know the name of one man they're looking for. They say this man, Lloyd Welch, has also passed fake currency at several businesses in Jessamine County.
Those bills look pretty good at first glance, but they're slick, lacking the texture of actual bills. There's also a pretty big giveaway that they're fake if you have more than one of them.
They all had the same serial number, so we had 12 passed at one business amongst 2 people.
Detectives say the bills were found at Walmart, Kroger, and several other stores. And they believe thieves are targeting the busiest times when clerks might be rushed and avoid checking the bill's security.
And they're catching the businesses when they're busy, and they're coming in there and they're passing off buying smaller items.
In some cases, these bills were given back to the public who were unaware they were trying to spend fake money.
And they've taken them in to try to purchase things and then determined that they were fake. And unfortunately, those people were out their money initially.
In Jessamine County, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Detectives say they are working with Lexington police because there have been several cases of counterfeit bills passed here.
After a disappointing end to the season, the UK football team is now looking for a new offensive coordinator. WKYT broke the story earlier today. Rob Bromley joins us now with more. Rob?
Well, the Wildcat offense started out this season with a boom, you might recall, and it ended with a whimper in 2015. And today we have been told that Shannon Dawson is no longer offensive coordinator. Dawson, a disciple of Hal Mumme, but the air raid offense rarely took flight during the season. The Wildcats were 95th nationally in scoring, 10th in the SEC, producing 24.7 points per game. Now, if you count all 8 SEC games and factor in the Louisville game, Kentucky scored only 6 touchdowns in the second halves of those games. Dawson told Fox Sports philosophically things weren't working out. And Mark Stoops has said his team needs to find more balance offensively. Of course, you also had a quarterback controversy this year. Patrick Towles announcing that he was transferring after he was removed as the starter. Dawson now out as offensive coordinator after only 1 season. We'll have more coming up in sports.
Rob, thank you. Dawson has more than $1.3 million remaining on his contract.
Our recent stretch of mild weather has come to an end. Much cooler air moving into the bluegrass. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell joins us with an early look at the forecast. Jim?
And Sam, just from yesterday alone, we're somewhere between 15 and 20 degrees colder compared to the same exact moment yesterday evening. Out there right now, that means we are in the upper 30s and low 40s in most locations. We've been talking all evening about how the 30s are coming. Well, they're starting to settle in naturally, of course, with the sun setting, but still holding on to a little bit of bubble of warmth with the low and mid 40s across parts of eastern Kentucky. Now, as we focus in on central Kentucky, we take you through the rest of the evening. Overnight, we're talking about more clouds, much colder by the time we get into the early morning hours. We likely run in the 20s. The area still breaking out into many locations. Lexington, up to Paris, holding on to 30 around Richmond. We get into the day tomorrow, we could track a few flurries and temperatures only in the mid 30s at the peak heating of the entire day. That's a big change compared to yesterday, which was in the 60s, by the way. We'll track another warm up though in the 7-day forecast. I'll have it here in just a few minutes.
We have been reporting on the treatment drug Suboxone for several years now. So when our investigative team heard about a former lieutenant governor's new drug treatment facility touting its plan to go without the controversial drug, we went to check it out. New at 6, WKYT's Miranda Combs takes us to London.
So this is a college campus completely enclosed.
Behind the old brick and chipped paint, there is new.
We have everything you can imagine on a very welcoming campus.
The campus is the former Sue Bennett College in London.
You'll feel like a college student again.
What's being taught here, though, is not academics. It's how to live.
Addiction recovery is minute by minute, day by day, week by week.
Dr. Daniel Mangiardo has watched it over the years, drug addiction filtering through his eastern Kentucky roots. He studied it and says this place is the answer.
There are a lot of 30-day facilities out there. At 30 days, you go home. God bless you. The success rate of those programs are exactly the same as doing nothing. We fail because we do not do the aftercare.
Here, Mangiardo is building LifeCore Recovery, where patients will be able to stay. After they leave, the center stays in touch with the patients on a daily basis for up to a year.
We know that if we can keep a patient in therapy for 12 months, our success rate can approach 90%.
He's also marking success by leaving out Suboxone, a popular treatment drug for opiate abuse, but an unwanted risk for Mangiardo.
It is a street drug, it has a street value, and we as physicians are writing it at an alarming pace.
In 2015, Medicaid paid more than $27 million for Suboxone in Kentucky, making it the 3rd most popularly prescribed drug covered by Medicaid.
So those are taxpayer dollars.
In this courthouse in Pulaski County, every day Judge David Tapp says he sees Suboxone being used not to treat, but to abuse.
They test positive for Suboxone when they come from the jail because it's so easy to smuggle into the jail. it is a huge local problem for us.
In a 10-month time span, Judge Tapp says he's had about 2,700 people in his court test positive for the illegal use of Suboxone.
I never want to say that Suboxone is not an appropriate treatment for some individuals. It is, but to simply throw Suboxone at the problem, that's not smart, and that's not supported by the empirical evidence.
When I first saw it in 1991, I saw people getting better.
Dr. Stephen Lamb has helped countless lives change course by using Suboxone.
Now, are they off the narcotic? No. But is their life better? Yes. Is society's life better because they're not dealing and stealing? Yes. Okay, no, they're not off it. But their behavior has changed dramatically.
When paired with counseling and a close eye, Dr. Lamb sees success rates of more than 70%. He knows it can be abused, but he doesn't see it much in his office. Right now, it's his best bet for success.
And I don't know what else to do. I'm not aware of any other modality of treatment that's going to be as successful as this. If there were, I'd pounce on it.
LifeCore Recovery is an abstinence program. They give patients an anti-narcotic called Vivitrol, a monthly injection for up to a year.
If I put more effort in finding drugs than actually going to school, I'd have a doctorate right now.
Nicholas Morris is new to these grounds, but it will be home for a while.
And I was doing that every day for the past 15 years.
A $200 a day habit of heroin and alcohol. It will take time to change his life.
And eventually, you don't get high anymore. You're just trying to not to be sick.
So he's trying Mangiardo's approach, the first program in the country, Mangiardo says, to add more time for healing while leaving behind a drug promoted to help just that.
When the medication goes from being a tool of treating addiction to being a weapon causing addiction, it becomes very dangerous.
Dr. Lamb, the psychiatrist in our story that uses Suboxone as treatment, agrees that it can be abused, but says close monitoring of the patient is key to make sure they are on the right track. He also says he's interested in Mangiardo's approach. This is such a developing field of treatment. He said, quote, "We just don't know how to do this well enough yet."
When you look at your video there, Dr. Mangiardo's facility looks like it's still under construction, is it?
And they are accepting patients and have been for several months. But yes, that campus facility will be ready in a couple of months. They're very excited about it.
Boy, this battle continues, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Thank you, Miranda. A fire shut down the store for about a day, but a Frankfort Kroger found a way to turn that setback into something that helped others. That's next.